Hi. My name is Natasha, and I've been a resident of San Francisco for 14 years. I live in the Mission. I feel really strongly about this Taser issue, I have to say. I came out because, for me, I feel like coming here to speak out against the police force getting Tasers is a way that I can do my due diligence as a neighbor, as a citizen of this city, to protect future trauma and future deaths. That's how I feel about it, and I feel really good. I'm really happy there's a meeting. I'm really happy I made it, and I feel really like this is a preventive action that I can take. That's why I'm here, because I feel like the CIT is something that if it was without extra weaponry, I feel like it would be something I would be really, really proud of San Francisco for. Like if the CIT was working with very highly trained, sensitive, do I dare say sensitive people who are tuned into de-escalating situations. We have, our world, our city, our country is just overwhelmed with violence and need and poverty and suffering. So we don't need any more tools of trauma in our society. And I personally feel like if they were added as another weaponry, even though I know they're called non-lethal or less lethal, they are lethal in many instances around the country. We know that. And, in the case of Oscar Grant, it was a situation where supposedly he thought he was grabbing his taser. So somebody got killed, in the back anyway, shot in the back anyway. So I don't support them whatsoever. I'd be much happier with the city of San Francisco without them. And I do feel like they would be disproportionately used against poor people, against homeless people, against all the people who are already disproportionately oppressed and sort of just abused in our society. Drug dealers, and certain groups of people in certain new neighborhoods, etc. I feel like a lot of people are already traumatized, and this would just be an additional trauma. And I have major concern about how somebody could decide that this is an acceptable person to shoot electricity into, or volts of whatever electronic-based electricity, whatever a taser is. It doesn't seem to me that I personally wouldn't trust myself to have the ability to decide by looking at somebody like, do I know if this person's 2 months pregnant? Do I know if this person has a heart issue? Do I know if this person is, having a crisis with having an episode and they're manic depressive? Like there's too many factors, and to put more options that make police feel like they're doing something that's less lethal, I feel like it's just adding more problems. And I agree with the gentleman who talked about accountability. I don't feel like when there are a lot of issues of accountability to be addressed that we should be adding more weaponry to. It's just extremely disturbing to me. And I understand that the police do a very difficult job where people come, the police are called for situations where neighbors and witnesses feel overwhelmed and incapable of dealing with the situations. So I get that we rely on the police, we call them to these situations. And so that's why the CIT, without any additional weaponry, I think is a wonderful thing if it's really genuinely regarded. And okay, so I do have some questions. I do understand that there are tasers in the sheriff's department. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, so that might be a good idea to put the sheriff's department's statistics up, because it is closer to home than just CHP.
The sheriff's department operates in a closed environment where there are no people of weapons, and it's all protective custody. It's a completely different environment than outside.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
It's apples and oranges.
They don't interact with the public in the same way the CHP and the police department do. So it's a different comparative.
Yeah, I think there are a number of people who desire to see the statistics of the
They
sheriff's
work in
department.
the public with the SFPD.
Is that information
I'm
available
not
somewhere?
gonna ask for it.
Okay, it would
That's
be
not
nice.
true. They work with the SFPD in public
Sir,
with
sir,
tasers.
if you want to come back to the mic, you will have that
Thank
opportunity.
you. I'll take that opportunity.
Okay, so I do have a little bit more. I have 3 questions. One is I would like to ask you to please give specific situations when tasers can be used instead of guns.
So one of those would be a person with an edged weapon that would come at an officer and be at a distance where the officer would be able to use the taser instead of a firearm. Right now, they just have a firearm.
An edged weapon means a knife.
A knife, a razor blade, any sort of a device that could do serious injury or death to an officer, but there would be the distance that before the person could close that distance, they could be controlled vis-a-vis the taser versus you shot with a gun.
Okay, and do you think they should be used when a person is in a mental health crisis and has one of those bladed weapons?
Not if they're only a danger to themselves, no.
And how do you identify that?
Well, in the instance that I spoke to in July, he had already cut a person about the neck. So actually it hit the arm, it was blocked. So there have been many other edged weapon situations over the course of the near last 2 years where we haven't used anything, we've just talked them out of it.
I really support that. I cannot tell you how happy that makes me. You talk out of any
No
situation.
happier than it makes me.
Yeah, so I all the better. More of that, please. And what about if the person that is in a mental health situation and they have a blade and they're in a closed environment, like something small, like a bathroom?
We give them all the time and room they need.
And where is the accountability for this? Is the taser accountability is exactly like the accountability for the rest of the police department?
You know, a couple speakers have spoken to the accountability of the police department. My officers are accountable to the public. They're accountable to me. The discipline schedule substantiated by this commission and this OCC has been swift. The officers have conducted themselves unbelievably professionally, and I'm gonna say right now that they are accountable to the public and they do a great job every day. And again, not one single person has been harmed by a San Francisco police officer that has been a danger only to themselves that's been in crisis. We're really, really proud of that, and I'm proud of the officers for boasting that record.
Well, I mean, I wish I didn't have something to argue against that with.
Give me an example.
Well, one situation, and I'm not I really don't pay attention as much to the local news as I really should. So I'm sure there are many more cases than this that are more recent. But the incident with that man who was getting on he was on Muni and he was
The one that shot himself?
Okay, well, that's not my understanding of the case.
Your mistake.
Okay, thank you.